So while he... Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and we're at my beautiful coffee farm here in Nicaragua. I've been traveling for 3 months, so I haven't been able to see the projects that I left behind before I made my trip. So in this video, we're gonna walk my farm, and I'm gonna give you an update on how the progress is going. Behind me is my friend here, and he is picking coffee. It is coffee season here in Nicaragua, so you can smell the fresh coffee cherries in the air. Everyone's busy harvesting, picking, processing, and getting ready for export to the US, Europe, wherever their customer base is. So a lot of movement right now in Nicaragua with coffee season. And in this video, I'll walk you around my farm to see what the progress is. Hopefully you have a cup of coffee in hand to enjoy it. Let's get going. So right now, what you see behind me, it's actually the new lot we planted 3 months ago. In between here are actually small little coffee plants that you can't really see right now because they're tiny, but I will show you further in detail. Behind me too, you can appreciate this trail here that we built right in between the plantation. We built it contour to the mountain so we can walk in between the plantation and access the plants easier and make it easier for the workers. So let's take a walk and check it out. Now the goal with this plantation here was to be as efficient as possible, but also work with the land correctly, right? Do not destroy the land. Try to actually make a system where both of you benefit, the coffee plant and the land itself. So right now, what you're looking at here as we walk, this is one of the coffee plants. It's variety type Parainema. This plant here is 5 months old. Basically, it spent 2 months in a coffee bag. There's a video on that also. And then it's been 3 months out here in the field. So there's one. And then if you walk along, you'll see another one right here. I'll clean this up a little bit. So this one is also a Parainema. And what you're looking at here is about an acre worth of coffee. So every 1.5 meters, you have the coffee plant here. And then there's a 2-meter hallway where the workers walk for harvesting. So right now we're going to continue on walking, but what we can appreciate here is actually the trail that we built. We make sure that we added some side protection here to protect against soil erosion, and then we came back in and we planted some banana trees and some plantain trees every about 10 to 15 feet. So we planted around 42 of these along this side of this trail here. So while you're walking this trail, you can appreciate the upper side of the plantation and then the lower side of the plantation, which is right here. Beautiful. On that side over there, that's where we have an older plantation that's been existing here. This is one of the newer ones that we started with this farm since we're rebuilding it right now. Now we're leaving that plantation behind. It's going to be 3 years until we can try a cup of coffee from those plants. So it's going to be a long time caring for those little pups. But hey, you know, this is what the coffee business is. This is the harvest for this year right now. We still have the back area of this branch here that you'd see that needs to mature. But these red ones right here are ready for the picking. And this is what we're working on today. We're going to be picking all these red cherries and de-pulping them. It looks like a good season. It looks like a very delicious cup of coffee in my opinion. Sunny day out here today. Beautiful day. The weather stopped with the rain and now it is cool and sunny. Perfect time just to go ahead and pick these beautiful coffee cherries off the trees. They just look tremendous this year. Look how big that bean is right there. That's gonna be some good flavor in your cup of coffee there. So we are actually in the house right now, and before we go de-pulp the coffee that the workers have been harvesting all day, we're actually going to make some coffee ourselves because we need some energy. The coffee I'm making is from Proyecto Diaz. These guys are my friends. He is actually the roaster that buys my coffee out in San Francisco, and he roasts it and sells it online and sells it at the ferry market. So here's his bag. I'll link his company below. Super cool. He has the same mission as me, trying to rebuild family legacies. But This is awesome because you need a good cup of coffee along with good people, and at the farm, that's the best kind of mix you can get. So we'll make a cup of coffee. We have the fire going. This is an old school kitchen here. We have Brian who's cleaning the water supply, our kettle, and then we're actually boiling some water right now. We're gonna transfer that to the kettle. After we transfer it to the kettle, we're actually gonna use a clever dripper that I brought with me over here. So we'll use a clever dripper to brew a cup of coffee. All right, guys, we got our hot water, so we're gonna do our setup here. I love this clever dripper. It's actually really nice. I find that the clever dripper gives the coffee a really good flavor because you can have the coffee submerged in water for longer to extract those delicious flavors. But like I said, the coffee, we got some good coffee here. We're gonna pour some in my grinder. Let me tell you, this grinder's been amazing. I've had it for around 2 years now, and it's never let me down. Man, it smells spectacular. It smells delicious. So this coffee right here that we're about to grind is actually last year's harvest on my farm. So it was a good year for the harvest. We made sure we implemented some quality controls to make sure the flavor is always going up and up, and you're getting a good cup of coffee. But we'll grind this up real quick before we get going to pour it inside there. Okay, let's check it out. Delicious. We got our fresh grounded coffee. They're from Nicaragua. Best coffee in the world, in my opinion. But you know, some people are biased there, including me. So we're gonna pour the hot water in here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna pour the coffee in. You look at that. Pour that goodness, all that hard work from last year in there. And then I stir it. I stir it for a little bit. It sounds like the roosters can smell the coffee right now. So then after I stir it, I'm gonna let it sit for 2 minutes. And after I let it sit, we're gonna drink some delicious coffee there, and I'll give some to the rooster right now because he's yelling a lot. So let's go ahead and put it there and watch the magic go down. Yeah, so I have the coffee here, right? So this coffee, it was last year's harvest, but the people that actually live in the farm, they've never tried it this way because I brought this bag from the US with me. So this is the first time they're gonna try coffee, pour over coffee made from this farm, their hard work and their hard labor from last year. So let's see how it goes. I don't know if they're gonna like it, to be honest, because they're used to coffee with sugar, but we'll see. We'll give it a try first. We're gonna start with Jose. Jose, vamos a probar primero, ¿ok? Cuídate que más, está caliente. A ver cómo te gusta. ¿Está bueno? ¿Amargo? No. ¿No? Este café es el del año pasado, mira, la cosecha del año pasado es aquí, de la finca. Aquí está, ¿ves? Y así es como se vende en los Estados Unidos. Pruébelo. ¿Cómo lo sientes?
Está bueno.
Ah, no está amargo.
Más o menos, de un buen modo.
De un buen modo. Lo sientes, no me está mintiendo, ¿verdad? Está bueno. Si no le gusta,
no,
está bueno, ¿ah?
No está bueno, ya nos sembramos.
Ese es el trabajo duro que hicieron el año pasado ustedes, pues.
Sí.
¿Cuál vomitar?
No, está bueno.
Está bueno. ¿Cuántas latas cortaste vos de ese café el año pasado?
Como unas 30.
Unas 30.
Sí.
Man, that's super cool to have the guys try their own coffee, because they worked last year. They worked really hard to get this harvest out. The roads were broken. It was incredibly difficult just to do the labor and get it out of the farm. So super cool perspective to go from here to the US to get roasted by a friend with the same mission, and then back to Nicaragua for the person who picked it to go ahead and try it on the farm. Coffee is people, man. Coffee is people. Now let's go check out, see what's going on with harvesting and the de-pulping. All right, guys, so we're making our way to the processing plant here in order to get the cherries de-pulped so we can let them ferment, and then we can wash them the next day. Oh shoot, almost fell. All right, guys, the way this works here is that the coffee that we picked earlier today in the morning is located in these sacks right here. And what's gonna happen now is we're gonna measure how much coffee was harvested today. And the way they measure it is they pour it into a bucket, and this right here is what we call the lata. So they get paid based off of that, the cherry pickers. So depending however many latas they pull through the day, you'll pay them. depending how much you're paying per lata. So right there you have it. That is considered 1 lata. So the farm right now is actually really small. We only have like an acre to 2 acres worth of coffee. So the setup that we have now, it manages the volume just fine. But since we continue to plant more and more coffee, eventually we're gonna have to remodel this whole setup. There's processing plants that look like a museum, like they're golden. They have top-notch equipment and everything. And then there's processing plants that are more artisanal, that just have a small little unit to depulp, a couple areas to ferment, and a small little area to wash. Either way though, compared to the big expensive plant to the artisanal plant, you can always ensure quality in between there as long as you have the right processes in place. So I'm gonna show you guys how we depulp the coffee now. Now unfortunately this machine is a hand crank machine. We haven't bought a motor yet, so it runs with the motor. That's because the farm, we still have small volume, so we can handle it with this. But in the future, we're gonna need a motor.
Dale, está muy llena. Toda pues.
So on this side here is actually the pulp that is coming down. There's a cherry pulp right there. We're hand cranking away right now. We're hand cranking. Right here is actually the coffee without the pulp. There it is right there. See? There's the coffee coming out right now. That fresh coffee right there. Coffee's gonna caffeinate you in the morning. So this is the process. We'll keep going until we're done with the top, and then we're gonna let it ferment here in this pool for 1 day, and then we're gonna wash it. While we're depulping coffee, I want to take a time real quick to say thank you. Thank you for those who have supported my channel so far. I set up a website called buymeacoffee.com because making content about this takes a lot of time and effort and equipment. And there's been people who actually went to the website and they bought me a cup of coffee. And I want to say thank you to Ron, thank you to Ray, and thank you to Candace, Courtney, and someone, I think Jonathan, that also donated. Thank you guys so much. I definitely appreciate it. Whatever you guys donated on their buymeacoffee.com goes directly back to the channel and try to rebuild everything here. I'll leave a link on the description below if you're interested in clicking on it and checking it out. Now let's get back to the coffee. And now we're at the fermentation tank here. So here you can see we have the coffee, right? So now this looks something like you're probably used to, with the exception that it's not toasted but roasted. So this is actually the coffee bean without the cherry itself. It's gonna ferment in this tank for between 16 to 20 hours, and then we're gonna go ahead and wash it to remove the mucilage around it, and we're gonna put it to dry after that. So there's a few other processes that we still need to do in order to complete this coffee. But for today, the workers did an awesome job. They kicked ass. They went ahead and harvested, and then we just depulped right now, and we're gonna leave it for fermentation, and we'll continue the process. I'm gonna leave some links below, buymeacoffee.com, if you just wanna say, hey, I love what you're doing, I'll support the cause. Bam, just click on that link. Project Diaz, if you wanna buy some coffee, check out their mission statement. They're awesome people, check it out there. And also a link for my Instagram, so you can follow me, DM me, or just follow me so you can see more like real live updates there. I'll see you guys in the next video. Hopefully you loved this video, and if you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share. Hasta luego, mi amigo.